What's going on, guys? It's Danny with Gear Candy, and today we're going to do a second review of the Google Pixel XL. I've had it now for 4 months since I first reviewed it, so I wanted to give you guys a recap on how it's been doing as my daily driver. I've been able to review other phones since I've had this phone, so I have a better understanding of how well it compares to other phones. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this right now. Alright guys, so I always like to start off with the camera. How's the camera holding up in this phone so far? It's been an amazing camera. It's been very impressive. Most of the shots you guys are seeing on my Instagram account, if you follow me on Instagram, it's GearCandy16, not Gear Candy. Most of those shots are on this camera, and a lot of people have been leaving me some comments asking if it's the Google Pixel. It's almost hard to believe. Some of the pixels look very DSLR-ish. Now along those lines, there's another feature that I haven't really touted as much, and it's lens blur. You can use lens blur to create that depth of field that a lot of people have been looking to get on phones, which have traditionally been more of a DSLR thing. So the lens blur feature allows you to do this. You select it. It's one of the options in the camera itself. You select that feature, take a picture, and you have to sort of move the phone up a little bit, and it creates that artificial lens blur in the background. The other feature I always leave on is Hdr Plus. You can put it on auto, but it doesn't always kick in. Just leave it on. This is a feature that I think will enhance your photos to the point where you don't have to worry about putting filters on them. The shadows pop a little bit more, the colors pop a little bit more. It's the one feature I would say that's not a gimmick whatsoever. Leave it on all the time, and I think you guys would be pretty happy with it. So in my previous video, I mentioned that the low light performance wasn't as good on this phone, but I'm gonna go ahead and revise that just a little bit. I figured out that if you don't let the camera focus for too long, the pictures tend to come out less noisy. What you do is you focus on your subject, and as soon as that focus ring comes on, snap the picture. Don't let it focus for too long. Otherwise, for whatever reason, the picture comes out a lot noisier than it would if you just would have snapped the picture as soon as that focus ring pops up. So with this strategy, I've been able to take a lot more low light pictures that I'm happy with. So it's a little bit of a tweak, but it actually does work. As far as the screen is concerned, no issues to report here. I'm only gonna say that the Gorilla Glass 4 has yielded me about maybe 2 or 3 minor scratches. Aside from the screen, the rest of the phone has absolutely no scratches on it that I could discern of. I've had the phone on a case this entire time, so I don't expect there to be any scratches on the phone. Like I said, the screen had 1 or 2, but the rest of the aluminum body has held up pretty well. As far as the performance go, this thing has been rock solid. Quick recap, we've got a Snapdragon 821 quad-core processor with 4 gigabits of memory. The phone still performs better than any other Android phone out there. I've reviewed 2 phones since this phone, and I can tell the difference. It's just that little hair of lagginess that other phones experience, I do not get on this phone. The only thing I do have to say from a con standpoint is every now and then I do have to restart the phone to get rid of any sort of weird bugginess with apps. I think that's probably more an app thing, but restarting the phone seems to fix it, so it's probably something to do with the OS as well. It's not something I do all the time, but maybe once every 2 weeks, we'll keep the phone running 100%, and I think you can schedule this in the system UI. So a lot of folks are interested in how the storage is doing on this phone. I went with the 128 gigabyte. I don't expect to ever fill that up. After 4 months of use, I'm at about 35 gigs, almost 36 gig of use. I take a lot of pictures with this phone, and I have a lot of apps loaded, so it's definitely doing a really good job in terms of storing all that data. So I never see myself having to go over 128 gig. I probably could have even gone away with the 64 gig. And don't forget, guys, if you do have the 64 gigabyte model and you're coming close to running out of space, all your photos are uploaded to Google's cloud at full resolution. So if you need to free up some space, just clear those photos off of your device and you should be good to go. Now the fingerprint sensor continues to be consistently working every single time. There's actually a lot of apps now that are introducing fingerprint as a replacement for authentication purposes. So it's nice to have a phone that works every time you need it, especially when it comes to like bank applications and things like that. Using the fingerprint sensor, if it doesn't work, it's kind of a pain to have to go back and retype your password. And once you get accustomed to using the fingerprint sensor, you tend to start forgetting passwords. So it's kind of annoying if the fingerprint sensor doesn't work. And in this particular phone, it works absolutely great. So after 4 months having the phone, the battery life has still been great. There's 2 main features that will make sure you have battery life throughout the phone. First feature is the battery saver feature. That'll kick in depending on the percentage that you configure it to do so. I have mine set to 15%. When that kicks in, certain features will be shut down on the phone. Top and bottom will be highlighted in orange so that you know that the battery saver feature is on. Whenever this feature is on, I haven't really noticed much in the way of reduction in functionality for the phone. I can pretty much do everything that I normally do, and the battery gets extended about 3-4 hours, so that's great. And the other feature is the rapid charger. If you find yourself having issues with battery life on this phone, plug it in for 20 minutes at a time, 2-3 times a day, and you should never have any battery issues whatsoever. Now the speaker on this phone is really good, but I've had some other phones since then and reviewed on the channel, and I really wish that there was a second speaker. After hearing a phone with 2 speakers, it kind of spoils you a little bit. It does immerse you a lot more if you're used to, if you like watching content on your phone. So that's probably one of the things I wish the phone had. So hopefully Pixel 2 will give us that feature. And the last thing I want to highlight is the operating system. We're now on Android 7.1.1. When we got the phone, we were at 7.1, and most phones that are being rolled out with Nougat are coming at 7.0. The Google Pixel is still ahead of the pack in terms of the operating system, latest and greatest. And that's one of the great things about having a Google Pixel or Nexus or any Google sanctioned phone. You're always gonna get the latest and greatest features for the operating system for Android. When the 8.0 comes out, we'll get it on the Pixel right away. This is one of the benefits for having a Google phone, and it certainly is showing. I've gotten about maybe 5 or 6 updates since I've had the phone. That's more updates than I think I ever had on my Samsung S7 Edge. So that's pretty much our recap on the Google Pixel XL. It's been 4 months. If I still have the phone 8 months out, maybe I'll do another one. In my book, it's still the best Android experience to this day. There's 0 lag on the phone. The camera's amazing. Form factor is good. Battery life is great. So after 4 months, I can still say what I said 4 months ago. Google Pixel XL is the Android phone you want to buy. Now with that being said, there's a lot of Android phones that are about to come out. So, the king might be knocked off the shelf here soon. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about the Google Pixel. Do you own the phone? Are you still waiting for your Google Pixel? That'd be interesting to know. If you've had any issues with the phone, let me know what you guys think. If it's been a rock solid device, I'd like to hear that as well. Please like the video if you enjoyed the content. Don't forget to subscribe.